Hello everyone, for today's video something pretty unusual for my channel. It's a recording of a podcast episode I did with Matt Holborn. Now don't get me wrong, it's not from my podcast. I don't have a podcast, well, not yet anyway. But Matt Holborn, a great jazz violin player, has a podcast about jazz violin. And this is the second time I'm a guest in his podcast. We recorded it live on location in the Piano Bar in Soho, London. Normally, Matt doesn't record video with the podcast, but since I had my tablet with me, I decided to just put it there and record the video. So the quality of the video is not great because it's a tablet and it doesn't have a great camera inside of it. But the audio is great. The conversation is really interesting, and I thought it would make a nice video to just put on my channel. Before we switch to the podcast episode, I want to inform you that in the description of this video, there's links to all of Matt Holborn's various stuff online. The podcast, his Facebook, his Instagram, everything that I could find. So now it's time to watch and listen to the podcast.
So we just managed to rush in, which is good. I feel like it's quite good to rush into these things, so it means that you don't have much time to talk to each other before.
To second guess yourself.
No, it's more like if you have a long conversation before you do an interview, you just waste all of your chat on your long conversation.
And you got to say all the time, save it for the podcast.
Yeah. But sadly, we were just talking about microphones, so that wasn't that exciting. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, great. I have a great time here in the UK. Been here now for like a week or something. First in Shrewsbury and now in London.
Uh-huh.
And I'm actually enjoying some West End shows.
Okay, is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
in your time off.
Yeah, I figured I'll meet some people like you, Harry Diplock, Alban, Claret.
Yeah,
some musicians I know. But I was like, I want to see some West End shows. So
yeah.
I saw one, and I'm gonna see another one tomorrow.
What did you see?
I saw Back to the Future.
Okay, nice.
I wanted to see because I couldn't imagine that would be possible to get all those scenes from the movie on the stage. But
Yeah.
I heard it was possible, and it was actually possible. So my mind was kind of blown.
All right, okay.
And tomorrow I'm going to Neil Gaiman's Ocean at the End of the Lane.
Okay, I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's a play. It's not a musical.
Okay. And so you're a big fan of West End stuff?
You know what? I've only been to a musical once in my life.
Okay.
I've played in many in the Netherlands, but I knew the level here is supposed to be much higher than it is elsewhere. So,
And what do you reckon?
Yes, the sound was incredible. The band was incredible.
Yeah.
The singers were very good. The special effects were something else I've never seen. That maybe that's the standard nowadays, but I've never seen. I didn't imagine that it would be possible to put that on stage, right? With a DeLorean like driving,
Right.
going through the sound barrier.
But how did they do it? What was a scene that made you go, wow?
That never stopped, like when the DeLorean goes 88 miles per hour and, they have this DeLorean on stage. It moves on stage. I don't know how they do that because at one point it flies. It turns upside down. I don't know how to do that with people in it, right? Yeah. So it flies and then they have a projection screen behind it and in front of it, and they project the speed on it. But the thing is also moving on stage, so it looks really like it's going very fast.
Oh shit! Okay.
And then the music is pretty good, especially when they play the themes from the movie. Like the new songs are okay, but a little bit forgettable. But I don't know, like the performances were great. The band was amazing.
So there's a band.
Yes. Band, really good musicians, and the sound was great, and I mean the lighting was okay. Everything was like 10 out of 10.
Yeah. It's funny because in London there's there's this scene of musicians that's what they do. They do that stuff, and they're really great at it. And a lot it'll be like string players. It'll be like generally classical. Like a classical job in a way, I guess, just a reading job.
There were no string players though.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was the only thing I didn't have the best seat, but I couldn't see the whole band, but I didn't see any string players. And also when I heard strings, I think it was samples.
Yeah, sure.
So they had a band because the music is of course very important Back to the Future, but it's mostly like rock and roll music.
Yeah.
So they had a great pop band, and then they had some winds and brass.
Okay, yeah.
And then the samples just were good samples, but that was the only thing that was lacking, because when they go back to the 50s, when the movie has a lot of like jazz and stuff, it sounds a little bit not completely in the style.
Yes, yeah. It's not gonna though, because That is it. It's like I was saying. I guess it's like that's what these guys do. They do these musicians. They do like everything, don't they?
Yeah.
They'll be able to like do every style.
Right, and 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
So then, must make some good money, I think.
Yeah. Totally.
And they were very good though, because the end they had the jam.
Yeah.
So the last song, they do Power of Love, you know.
Okay.
And then the band or the singers go off and they jam and they all play a solo.
Oh, nice.
And those solos are freaking amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Like the guitar solo, like the keyboard solo and the saxophone solo, they were all great. So I don't know if they do the same solo every night, but my mind was blown.
No, I'm sure they don't.
Yeah.
It's what's great about London. Just like the musicianship's very high here.
Yeah,
some
true.
great musicians. So you've been here doing some concerts.
I was part of the Shrewsbury Festival.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the third year running,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be there next year. At least that's what they promised.
That's
me.
what they said.
I mean, it's organized by Paula Shaver together with Chris Green, or it's Chris Green together with Paula
I thought
Shaver.
it was just Chris who organised it.
Well, they started together. Chris is still the organizer, but Paula is always there. He's the main guy, and he's also involved with everything. So he's involved with all the workshops, with the planning of it.
That's cool.
With the concerts, he's a guest in other concerts.
Nice.
And then actually Paula was the one who involved me in it.
Nice.
And then, so it was like 3 days of workshops. I did both guitar and violin.
Nice.
And then 2 concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, the students also, the students also did a concert the last day.
Nice.
On the same stage that I played there with Moses Rosenberg and Paulus. But then the students play on the same stage now. This is a great opportunity for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool stuff. What's the setup there? What happens? You get there. If you're there to go and learn, how does it work?
Yeah, so any level is welcome, but I think it's best you know that because you do your own thing, right?
Yeah.
It's best if you already know the style a little, right?
Yeah.
Know some tunes. So this year, the level was okay. All the students that were there, they were involved in the music already, but
Cool.
except for one violin player, but she was a very good violin player. You know?
Cool.
So, and then you get some workshops. I'm not sure what Paulus did, but because we don't teach together, right?
Yeah.
I have a group, so I did a workshop with the violin players on how to outline changes, because that's as a violin player, it's fun. But there's one student there that comes every year, and she's you know her, right?
Casey.
Yeah, right? So it's very difficult to be in a classroom with her.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Because she's amazingly fast. She can already do everything.
Yeah.
So then I work with the students on a basic level.
Yeah.
But then when they get tired, and they get tired fast because I give very challenging stuff, I work with Casey for a half hour and the rest watches.
Yeah.
And that's they really enjoyed that, because then they could see me working at the highest level, because she's basically like a university student.
Yeah. She sounds
a
great.
very good one.
Yeah.
But also her brain, you know.
Yeah.
You give her, say, okay, I want you to play some augmented skill on this tune. And she will do it, right? And she will be creative with it. So
I gave her a lesson once at the Django in the Bay workshops that we were doing, and she was it was the same thing. It was sort of like a lot of we had to you had to go. Okay, and now for Casey.
Yeah, and now for Casey, right. But I also use her during the other parts to demonstrate things.
Yeah.
I say, okay, so now we're going to try this thing. Okay, and then I play guitar, for example.
Yeah.
And then I can let Casey demonstrate. I don't have to demonstrate it. I can let Casey do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes she does a better job than I would do it.
Yeah.
And then I did a workshop with them on timing.
Yeah.
And with the guitar players, I did a workshop on understanding harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Because with violin players, of course, you have to go back to understanding chords.
Yeah.
But a lot of guitar players, they know the chords of a tune, but they might not necessarily understand, this is a 2-5-1.
Yeah.
This is a turnaround. This is a Christoph change. So I made them understand that, so that and then we learned on the spot. We learned like 3 tunes, like without paper. Just I say the formulas, and we of course did some workshops on improv.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to know, because you started life as a violinist. Or started jazz life as a violinist, and now you've sort of taken this turn as a guitarist as well. You've sort of got the second instrument. But now that's like a large part of your life. It's a large part of your teaching, a large part of like how you sort of just probably your daily life, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it's guitar based.
Most of it is guitar based.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what's the difference between a beginner jazz violin student and a beginner jazz guitar student, or we could say the Gypsy Jazz thing, the Django thing. Let's stay in Django for the time being, because that's the
that is a very interesting question, and I have an answer that might surprise you. It surprises a lot of people, because I always say, actually playing jazz on a violin is easier. Like, just if you look at the parameters that you have to master. Now, playing the violin is much harder, right? So, but here's what the problem is, because a lot of violin players that are ready to play jazz have put a lot of work into mastering the instrument, tuning, bowing, vibrato. It's very difficult to do all of that. Very, very difficult. So then you tell them, okay, now we're going to do jazz, and we have to start all the way from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's a problem, right? Because they may be even playing by ear, and everybody loves it. You know how it goes, right? A lot of guitar players that are very critical of other guitar players when it comes to playing good lines, they lose that perspective when it's a violin.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can play the theme to Lady Be Good, come play with me in Stockholm. I have a gig with Pirelli. But and with guitar, it's different, because like playing the guitar, it has its challenges, but it's not the same as violin. You can learn to play guitar reasonably fast if you compare it to violin. Like that you could play. Wow, I could teach you the chords from minor string right now, and you could jam with anyone. That's not with violin. It's not the case. So, but then to actually play jazz on the guitar, I find it harder. I find it harder because you can get away with much less.
Yes,
and that's the thing, right? There's the level of guitarist is so high everywhere you go, right? In London, in the Netherlands, everywhere you go, that to be able to actually play with other people, you need a very high level. And with violin, the level is just much lower. Like the when you can get gigs.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because it's just violin. I feel like it's not the same with sax. And it must be because, like, what you're saying. It's not just because it's a frontline instrument. Because first of all, when you say that, I'm thinking, well, it's because if you can't play chords, then no one wants to be in your band. No one wants to play with you. That's if you're a guitarist and you've just started out and you don't know the chords to Autumn Leaves, it's like, well, don't turn up because it's not going to work out. Whereas if you turn up to you violinist, hey, I've just started out, I don't know the chords to Autumn Leaves, but I know the melody, like you said. It's like everyone's like, yeah, great, you're in. No worries, yeah. But that I feel like I've always thought, well, that's because violinists aren't accompanying anybody. But you think it's because the standard is just higher for lines,
I have a story about that. Last year I was teaching at Paulus' camp. This is a great camp, by the way, a very high level of students. And there was this very good guitar player from Germany. He had a high level, so we were jamming before the lesson started. I was like, wow. I mean, this is going to be a problem teaching him because together with the beginners or like people lower level. And then I was talking to him. I was jamming with him a lot in the hotel afterwards, or in the rooms there. And then he would say to me at one point, like, I asked him, do you have a band? Like, I have a band. It's like, what's the lineup? So I got 2 guitars, bass, and violin. It's like, oh, great. It's like, you should hear this violin player. She's fantastic. Okay. And then he showed me a video. And I immediately heard from like the second note, she doesn't know the chords of this tune. Sure. Because she was playing a B on C7, right? Some stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You play Limehouse Blues, and then you start playing in G's.
Start playing a big G major chord. Right. Yeah, I get you.
So I, of course, didn't say anything.
Sure.
But after 3 days, we became more friendly. And he said, Manny, when you come to where I live, you can do a gig, you can meet a violin player. And then I said, she's a very good player. Yeah. But she doesn't know the chords to the tunes, right? I said, well, yeah, that's true, but she has very good ears. I said, but listen to this one tune, she doesn't realize C7. And he listened to it again, like, oh yeah, I never noticed it before, right? And that's so weird, because if I would do it on guitar, he would immediately notice that I would do that.
Mm-hmm, totally.
So she was a very good violin player, don't get me wrong, she had a good swing, and she had a good, charisma, but she didn't know the chords.
And guitarists are like, no worries. That's what
or they don't hear it.
Yeah, I guess they're probably not listening out for it. Do you think?
Yeah, maybe it's something with the timbre. I have difficulties understanding why that is. I had this conversation many times with Dennis.
Timbre is the thing, right? Because I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's like if you're not hearing it in your own if you're not hearing it in like your own context, in the context of your instrument, you might not hear it. As in, like, well, when you hear, you've got perfect pitch, so actually you're not. It's not, but I don't have perfect pitch.
Right.
And if you were to play me a line, a complicated line on the piano, then I might be like, yeah, it's going to take me a while, and it might take me a while to work it out. Even if it works really nice on the violin, it might take me a while to work it out. Whereas if you played it on the violin, I'd be like, oh, that's an E. Okay, I know what that is. Okay. And I think that people's ears are often, I think that, I mean, yeah, I think that people's ears are generally, they sort of grow alongside their musicianship on their instrument.
But let me ask you this: if you go to a bebop jam, and there's two saxophone players, one knows to change and one doesn't, you will hear that immediately, right?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that guitar players will also hear that. So why don't they hear that with violin?
Is it also like because the violin, well, like a saxophone is like, whoa, like a trumpet, whoa, like if you play a wrong note, like it's going to be loud. It's a big sound.
That's true.
And they got to blow it out, and it just feels like a big thing that happens. Whereas the violin, I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not as powerful a sound. But then,
but with scatting, I mean, but now think about scatting. Now, actually, with scatting, it helps a lot as well, right? There's lots of singers that scat that okay, this scat is nice, the sound is nice, but missing some essential harmonic.
Sure. You can really hear it.
Cyrille May, no, she hits everything. But I know from Dennis that she actually doesn't really know the chords, but she does hears it.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I bet there are violin players that are like that, but I've met very few.
Yeah. It is a strange thing, and I do think that and it breeds. I mean, we speak about this pretty much every time. Yeah. Every time we hang out, but it breeds the idea. It just sort of breeds. It goes in around and round and round until violinists are just like, well, I don't need to know the chords because I got like loads of gigs and it's all cool.
That's true.
And then the next crew of violinists come along and they're like,
they hear that, right?
Yeah. I think violinists, we've done a lot of work. We've put loads of work into making a good sound, and I think that we'll maybe just be like, I'm putting myself in the bracket, but I'm not in that bracket. I know the chords, but we maybe do have this laziness of like, well, come on, I play the violin. Have you seen this thing? Like I'm holding it like this. It's so hard. Like
it's true though. But so I don't, by principle, when I go to a jam, and they play a tune that I don't know, and it's very complicated, then I actually don't take a solo on it.
Sure, if it's complicated, sure.
I can. Let's say I can't figure out the chords. Mostly I can because the tunes are right. But let's say it's Dolphin Dance. Yeah. Right. There's no way I'm gonna get those chords.
I'll leave it. Yeah.
I even if I get them, I won't remember them. So then I won't actually do a solo. But I know lots of violin players that would actually do take a solo.
Yeah. I think that. Well. Another aspect of this is that we are looking at, often when we're at camps, we are looking at people who are doing this for a hobby, and that's like these people, like people who are looking at this music as a hobby, are very important because they are they're keeping this music alive, and they are and they love it, and actually they get a lot out of it. But I think that's part of it is that if you're doing it as a hobby, I think that sometimes people find the hardest thing is like the jumping in and doing the playing in itself, like, and just improvising. Sometimes people are just so like, oh my God, it's so hard to improvise. Okay, I'll just do it. It's like the first time they've done it and they're like, cool. And then they get told, yeah, but there's some rules here. And they're like, what? And often I think that jazz to them, or, let's take a step back. It might not just be people who are hobbyists. It might be hobbyists. It might be people who have done violin for a long time and they're sick of the classical world because it's such a hard world. Yep. And they come to jazz and they're like, I can just be free. It's all good. Yeah. and then it's like, well, this is free. This is lovely. This is free. And then it's like, well, you got another chords. And it's like, but I thought that I could just chill. I think it's a bit of that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, so in Shrewsbury, there was one woman. She was a very good violin player. But she never played jazz before. Yeah. So the first thing we did was play minor string. I wanted to see the level. Yeah. And she actually didn't play any wrong notes. Yeah. She she didn't know the chords, but I told them the chords,
Yeah.
and she only played quarter notes, so no eighth notes, right?
Yeah.
And she started every line with the root. Right?
Okay.
You know how it goes, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm immediately,
Yeah.
I'm sympathetic because she doesn't try. But her problem was the opposite, right? When I told her to be more free,
then she couldn't do it.
She couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it has to be a mix between like, okay, let's take some risks.
Yeah.
But what are accepted risks, or when do I have to get back to some just basic arpeggio or something?
Yeah.
It's very difficult, and she never managed to get there. She would do it in like a little exercise, like say we do one chord, and then she could be given freedom. But like the last concert, we did a big jam session. Everybody played minor string. She didn't want to take a chorus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that, though lots of other people who do take courses with lots of wrong notes, but so there's something there that I appreciate.
Yeah.
But then it's very difficult for me to get her out of that kind of prison that she made for herself.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the opposite problem.
Yeah. I do think it's I think teaching jazz, teaching to improvise is such a difficult thing to do, because you're looking at people with different outlooks on music. Like people could, and it really can level the room. You could have someone who's been playing the violin for, who's been playing the violin for 3 years, but they've just happened to have this personality that can throw themselves at it and maybe play what they hear. Sometimes, that happens. And then you've got someone who's been playing for years and they can't. And I think I think it's just such an not impossible, but it's such a hard thing to teach, especially in a group setting. But then
how do you do it? What is your approach? Like if you have group, you just did one, right? You just did it, yeah.
Well, I do. It really depends. Again, it's like it depends who's there. But I think that I do like to teach a solo. So that's what I go on. I think I go on. Yeah, I've realized over the years a little bit. And it's something that I'm thinking about more. Is that like it does come around to this, in that teaching someone to improvise shouldn't be the only thing we're teaching when we're teaching someone to play jazz. Sometimes we focus on the improvisation a little bit too much, and this is Chaz said this as Chaz sort of said Charlenberger said to me, hopefully we all know, a lot of us will. Charlenberger said to me that when he went to one of these camps to teach, he was, I think it was either him or his partner said, these people don't need help improvising. They are all improvising really great,
right?
But they need to help playing the violin,
Okay.
And often actually we focus on getting people improvising, but actually people might need other things. They might need to understand like how to swing a little bit more. They might need to. And actually, they might need to learn the chords, and they might need to learn to open their ears out, and they might need to learn just some lines that,
or some certain fingerings,
and some certain lines that bowings, but even just like melodic lines that fit within the jazz idiom and understand the jazz idiom. Because you hear people improvising, and you think you're being free at this point, but it sounds like folk music, or it sounds very straight. It doesn't sound like jazz, not swing and stuff. And I just feel like the best way to level a room again is to get everybody learning some material. So either a solo that's transcribed, or and talk through the solo, and then try and use a bit of the solo in an improvisation. So that's what I've been doing. A lot of my classes look, and it'll sometimes be something that I've written. It'll be like a set of lines on all of me that that we're all going to try and look at, and then we take a little bit of it. And I like to take little bits of lines and then put them up in scales and stuff. That's what I've always liked to do. So with
the pre-composed solo, you're talking about the pre-composed.
I'd get a pre-composed solo, and we'll all learn it together. We'll at least learn 4 bars of it, and then we'll talk about each little section of it. And I'll try and make it so it's just at the right level that it'll give something to everybody. And that's how it's.
What's your because I just mentioned bowing, but here's the funny thing. So I have, I think, a very opposite opinion on bowing in jazz violin.
Okay, yeah.
Than most people. I always get questions like, "Oh, what kind of bowings?" It's like we're talking about swings. Like, what is your view on it? And then I'll tell you my view. It's probably different.
My view on bowing is that it's sort of semi. I don't know. I'm sort of formulating this at the moment, but I feel like it might be a little bit less relevant than we think it is when we're talking about swing. again, one of the things that I think people deal with or find most difficult when they're trying to get swing and trying to swing is hearing it in their head.
Yes,
So people are like, right, okay, I'm here to play jazz. You're going to teach me how to play jazz. You're going to teach me how to do jazz bowing, and then I'm going to swing. And it's like, what are you hearing in your head? Because if you're hearing like, then you'll basically find a way to make that happen on the instrument. Whereas if you're hearing then it's going to sound like that. And
I do have the same opinion. That's actually what I say. I make them sing. I say cool. Do a solo, but I don't care about the pitch.
Yes.
So I make them like I make them sing and say, okay, now that kind of rhythmic, I can immediately tell if you understand this language of jazz. Right? But if you understand it already, then I don't really care about bowing. In fact,
100%,
let's do this thing that you just sang, make some notes, and we try every bowing possible.
Yeah.
Like slur everything separate, start with the up bow. Yeah. Because in real life, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You cannot plan these bowings.
Yeah.
Not all the time, at least.
I'm the same. And actually, I have to tell myself that sometimes as well. So sometimes this is... Because I'm always getting myself in and out of technical problems throughout my playing. I don't know if that happens to you, or my technique changes a lot if I'm practicing a lot. Because then I'll maybe be working on one thing, and then my bowing will start to be more down up. Right. And then I'll get to a gig, and I'm just doing loads of down up, and I'm like, no, listen, you don't play like that. You just chill, And then I don't, and then I'll change it, and it'll be cool. Yeah, I honestly think that. I do think that there are some nice exercises to teach you to slur off beats, right? Yeah, just simple, like, hey, can you slur off beats? And most violinists will be like, oh yeah, I can, but that's not natural. And it's like, okay, well, try and do that. Try and work on that, because that's going to help you go that easier than that. But it's not the only thing. And like I spoke to Tracy Silverman. I know that he's not like super jazz. Do you know that guy?
No,
he does like chop stuff, and he's like rock violin. He's really cool.
Oh right, I know him. Yeah.
You'd know him if you saw him, but and he was just but he did study jazz. I think he was at Juilliard, and he's been around it a lot, and he was just like, I don't know, just sort of speak it a little bit. It's sort of spoken. A lot of bebop is, so just try and just do it like that. Yeah. Breathe it, And
so then you got to hear it first.
Just up and down. Sorry, I'm doing that for anyone who's not watching.
About offbeat slurring, that's interesting. I do that too, but I do it mostly to develop your ears.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's easier to get this offbeat accent a little bit. Right? It's easy to do it. So, but once you get it in your ears. Now let's try like the wrong slurring and see if we can still make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Try and make it happen with one long bow. You got to with one constant bow. Can you do it? And actually, if you hear it in your head, you usually can. You can usually, What's funny though, I do think the violin is. This all comes from. It is actually hard to swing on the violin. I think that. I remember someone. It was Harry actually. I'm going to play at his album launch tonight. Harry was like, I was basically, during lockdown, I would put these barbecues on, and we would all hang out in my garden. Cool. We'd all hang out in my garden and just jam, and I have this awful mandolin, and I was playing away on the mandolin, and he was like, your swing feel is so different to how you swing on the violin. Right. And often when I do play a percussive instrument, I'll think, this is actually, I wish I could play like this, I think you probably have that outlet, that nice outlet of being able to do
I know exactly what you mean. The thing is, though, that it's still possible to do on violin, but you have to be very... So on guitar, if you pick every note, especially when you do everything alternate, then the short note will always be on your upstroke, right? But gypsy jazz is already different. But on mandolin, you're probably going to do alternate. So then you really have a tune getting. It's kind of the motion is already swinging.
Yeah.
And on violin we don't have that motion really, because it's kind of random what we do.
Yeah. I think my picking style is pretty random. It's actually quite down. It's sort of just hitting it.
All right.
And then.
Well, but you have an impulse on every note.
Yeah.
And that then it's already probably easier to get like kind of a very defined. Subdivision.
The alternate picking I've never been able to do alternate picking. I've always found like doing it up, down, up, down, up, down.
Right. I'm a gypsy jazz
player.
Right. But one thing is what I always tell the students, and I tell this to both guitar and violin students, and it really helps them. I said, you have to imagine, like the first thing you have to listen for the quarter note in the band. So the quarter note could be the rhythm guitar, but it could be a bass on the 1 and a high on the 2. Somewhere the quarter note, sometimes it's only a bass on 1 and 3, you have to fill in the 2 and the 4.
Yeah.
So you got this quarter note going.
Yeah.
And then you have to just hear a constant flow of swinging 8th notes on top
Yeah.
of it, like do da do da do da, constantly, all the time. And when you play, you just lock into that, and then you stop playing, right?
Yeah.
But it goes on your head, and you just lock into that thing again. It's something I also always have to tell myself.
Yeah,
because sometimes you kind of lose yourself in like, can I play this very complicated altered line? And, but you have to actually listen for the quarter notes. And find those 8th notes, and then lock into those 8th notes. And if you can't sing it, then there's no way you can play it.
Yeah. Is it rhythmically? Do you mean
rhythmically? Yes. Yeah, not the notes. No.
That's it. And actually, it really helps people. I think that is realizing that it's not. There's not because people get really frustrated. I remember being saying, I remember when I first started teaching people jazz, I would be like, yeah, it's just basically these offbeat slurs, and then you'll sort of work it out. And I hadn't really thought about exactly what happened to me to make me swing. And what happened to me is listening to jazz since I was really young, and my granddad's a jazz musician, and and listening to playing blues on the guitar or whatever. I played drums and and it's like that's sort of why all I needed was Tim Kliphouse to say, hey, do offbeat slurs, right? And then I was like, sweet, this is great. But like, it's that's not where everyone comes from. A lot of people are like, they're not hearing those lines. They're hearing like on the beat, like, they're hearing just stuff on the beat, and they're just not hearing.
They hear panic.
Sometimes
we had this one workshop where I had all the guitar players, like 15 guitar players, and they all had to play a little solo on a tune. And some were good, but most of them were pretty bad. I'm not even talking about notes, but talking about like the time feel the swing.
Sure.
But when I would ask, like, what do you think is your main, your biggest weakness? What do you want to improve? Nobody would actually say. Yeah. But now I need more lines for like dominant chords or whatever.
Yes.
So let's do an exercise. Let's just take 2 notes, an A and a B.
Yeah.
And you can only play solo with that.
Yeah.
And then it was very apparent.
Yeah.
And everybody could see. Yeah. Okay, so the problem is not the notes, because it is the time feel.
It's the time. It's the time feel. It's the hearing. It's the hearing in your head, like you said.
And it's so difficult.
It is.
I find it very difficult to teach, to improve also yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of time, I know what your opinion is, but a lot of people, they ask me like, okay, it needs to be laid back. But I think actually, if you focus on laid back or on the beat, this is very confusing. It doesn't really work. Because all the people that can demonstrate it already have good timing, right? I'm going to demonstrate to you laid back or top. They already have very good timing. So this is an extra level. I think what you should focus on, that's my opinion, is the consistency of your string rhythm. So every long note should be just the same length as every other long note, and every short note the same length. So I don't care. I don't care how you subdivide it. You could be a very straight player, or a little swing, or a lot of swing. But you have to work on the consistency. And if you have the consistency, then you can maybe look at subtleties. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think you're right about don't worry about whether you're going behind or in front of the beat. I think it's tight. That's like later. You're right. It's just being in time is one thing. I guess being able to, but it isn't just being in time. Swinging is not just being in time, because some like you might be talking about quite high level classical players who can play, who can read and be in time with straight quavers, but they can't quite find that timing thing, the timing thing when it comes to jazz. So that's going to be a good exercise. Probably makes you think about it. But for me, it probably it's give yourself some exercises, whatever those exercises are, that make you think about time. But whilst you're doing that, you got to be listening and just got to hear this stuff, because if you don't hear it, it's not going to happen. If it's a classical player that has no idea, this is what I tell them. This is one sentence. So I say, it's a long note and a short note, legato, and if there are any accents, it's on the shorter note. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. Okay, right? Yeah. There's more to it, but that's very. So then I say like long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, and legato. So no, not the that always work. Legato.
It could be quite straight as well.
No, that's so.
And a different style. That's be a different style of swing.
But it's never completely straight, right? No, but you're swinging. You're swinging. It's not
a little bit, but it's still.
Yes. Yeah, but it's not da 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 da. It's da 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 da. You're still swinging a little bit. And I did a test because
that's hard. It's quite hard to not.
It is, because then suddenly it's not swinging anymore. And somebody told me, no, when it's very fast, it's very straight. But I actually checked. I took a very fast recording of Cannonball Adderley, and I slowed it down like 10%, and you could still hear the swing. I can imagine
you could actually with
it's
Cannonball,
not completely straight.
Yeah, okay.
It gets a little straighter, of course, because you cannot really do this thing anymore. But it's like you were just singing.
Yeah.
You can still hear there's something going on.
Yeah. Oh, if I listen back to this, I'll be like, that's just fucking swinging. You're trying to be straight. I think it is hard. I think maybe you're right. That's a good way of describing it. It's a long note. It's a short note. You might accentuate the short after.
If you want to accentuate, don't accentuate the long note.
You don't have to. Yeah, you can swing real nice and not accentuate anything.
Yeah, or accentuate everything.
But I think it's hard for violinists. I think it is tough, and I think it's often something more as simple as listening, and that can sometimes feel a little bit throwaway and a bit like, oh, well, why have I come to this lesson if you're just going to tell me to listen? But it is what it is. You've got to really hear the stuff in your head, or it's not gonna work.
What's your thought on transcription? Do you emphasize that?
I feel like if people don't like doing it, then but they have a good work ethic and they're progressing, then don't have to. But for me, I sort of don't know how you go through life as a jazz musician and don't want to do some transcription.
Yeah,
like, I don't know how.
Buy a book with transcriptions.
You could. Okay, well, I don't think that it's a great idea to consistently throughout your career, as a learning jazz violinist or jazz musician, to always be using a book to read your transcriptions and to read the material. Now, if especially at the beginning, if you're someone who finds it all tough but you've got a great memory for reading, and you've got a great memory for written music, as in like when you memorize things, you memorize them from the page, then cool, buy your book and use that to start with to get you going. But really the job is the job never ends. Being a jazz musician, the job of a jazz musician never ends. The job is every day, every time you pick up your instrument, try to work it all out, and try to work it all out with your ears, because you're going to use your ears later. To me, I think as a beginner, if you're going to use written transcriptions, absolutely go for it. But as you go on, there's just got to be some level of trying to work things out by ear. But
do you write it down? Because you just published a book, right?
I've not published it yet.
Okay.
I'm doing it with a publishing company now, so it's taken me ages to sort it out.
Yeah.
But because they have notes for me.
Yeah.
But I don't write out transcriptions that I've transcribed.
Man, I have thousands.
Right. Yeah, but I can understand why you would.
Well, there's also things there's times that I did transcription and didn't write down, but I've always regretted it, because then like 2 years later, it's like,
you've forgotten it.
It's one thing I can't forget. I have to do it again.
But
right?
but for me, the writing it out wouldn't help me play it.
No, not for playing. It's more for archival purposes.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to have it. It's just like, this exists. Someone said that to
it's
me.
in the cloud, right? And I have this thousands of descriptions. And sometimes I'm in a hotel room somewhere, and I think, I need some more stuff, rhythm changes. And I just go to my folder rhythm changes, and there's so many
you're right. It is cool. I think that someone was saying that about, not trying to get too deep here, but we like things as human beings. We like things that exist, and as a musician, often a lot of the stuff that you do doesn't really exist. You just do this thing, and you learn to improvise over chord changes. And like, well, what if you don't really have anything? You just can do this thing. You
can record it.
You can record it. You can, but like, then you've got one CD.
Then you could transcribe the CD.
Well, there you go. My point is that like, if you can just create some things, then it's nice to have that, because you're just like, I did this. You look at it, you can hold it in your hand rather than rather than like, oh yeah, I've transcribed thousands of solos. Like, prove it, prove it to yourself. Where
that's why now I'm doing the book thing.
Yeah,
right. So I started out doing just publish some PDFs that went into my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
that became a Patreon.
Cool.
And then they were always saying, why don't you make a book? You know, like a logical order of learning things, because of course the PDFs and the Patreon was random because it was just a video on whatever I was interested in. So
that's Patreon. It's like and it's the problem with Patreon. I like Patreon, but it's this timeline thing. And
I made an index. So I put in the work and I made a huge index where you can search. No, so it's a one post. And it has a link to all relevant posts. But that took a long time.
You made a page then, a website. Okay.
Yeah. So no, it's just a post on Patreon. But it's
post?
Yeah.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's called. I just called it Index.
Okay.
And if somebody joins on Patreon, they get a message with a link, and you click it, and it lists all my videos on YouTube, all the posts that go with that video. So you can always.
But it's a link to what?
Just other Patreon posts.
Okay.
So let's say I make a video about you, right? So this is Hans Roos or Matt Holborn. I describe it, and I make a video about it on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
But a year later, somebody sees that video. It's like, oh, I want to have the PDF. If you go to my Patreon page, it will be buried. Right? You won't find it. But now you go to my index and you type in Matt Holborn. And you click on it and you go to that post that I made 3 years ago.
Okay. Hey, did you know? Have you seen what Patreon has now? I think that this could make things more simple for you. And I think it is making things more simple. For things like that, you've got a shop, right?
Okay.
And in that shop, you can sell items, but you can also make those things free to people who are patrons. Right. So you can sell them to non-patrons. So it's a shop. It's like just
like a web shop.
So you can sell ebooks. You know, you could sell PDFs.
I have my own web store. Okay. Right? Because I'm not. So the thing was,
it's just a way to.
Yeah, it's new, right? Yeah.
It's just a way to. You could have a on your store that could be where all your PDFs.
But how do you? My Patreon works with subscription though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So my Patreon is if you join for the lowest amount, you get access to the post of 2 months back.
Nice.
And if you do a middle amount, it's 5 months back.
Okay.
And if it's the highest, you get access to the whole catalog.
Right? Cool. Okay.
So what happens is you come in and then you find the video that you like, and you try to access the PDF. Like, oh no, this is only for people that are 5 months back.
Nice.
Right?
That's cool.
But to get back to that point, like it's all random. There's no order.
Totally.
So then I started making these books, which have a clear subject and a progression from I start here, I end there.
Nice.
So I could recommend that to any musician or educational, or actually any musician that has something to teach.
Yeah.
Make a book.
That's what I'm doing at the moment, and I agree with you. It's a really interesting process actually making a book. You did it on your own, but I'm doing it with this company, and it's actually really great doing it with someone. They're like, this is cool, but you know, I look at this and it doesn't make sense to me, and I look at it myself and I'm like, you're right, I could put it in a better way. It's so nice to have that, but you know, there's I'm sure there's some positives to doing it on your own.
Well, I can do it on my own because I of course have these platforms that have people know me from educational stuff. Like if you are an unknown author, I'm not saying you are, but let's say
definitely.
And you need someone that can put it in the market.
Yeah,
so I understand that, and it's great that they can do the editorial stuff. For my first book, I hired a guy from Fiverr to do the layout, to format the fonts. And I paid him extra to send me the source file. So now I can just use that design for every new book.
Yeah.
Plus, I used the now medalist practice of using your readers as beta testers.
The what, sorry?
Using the users as beta testers.
Okay.
Right? Like video game companies, right? They release a game, it's not really finished.
Yeah.
But then people, they report the bugs. So I have a Discord.
Okay.
Right. So if you buy a book, you get access to my Discord.
Yeah.
And people find spelling mistakes. They find things like, this is not very logical. I change it.
That's so good.
And I re-upload. So
that's so cool. Yeah.
So that's now, like, I think all mistakes have been gotten rid of from book 3 because people say, just, there's like this weird thing to say there. And it's like, copy paste error.
That's so good.
And I changed it and I re-upload it again.
So cool. Yeah. My book is mainly it's based around enclosures. So.
Oh, cool.
And I know that's something that you're interested in as a violinist as well, which I think is interesting because a lot of when I speak to guitarists, they're like, I don't really think about enclosures much, but violinists, I think for some reason it's a big part of my playing and a big part of how I piece together a lot of jazz language.
How you feel the bars.
Yeah, exactly. How I feel up space.
But I think the reason is, you're right, because when I play on guitar, I hardly think about it. The reason is guitar, it's more shapes-based. Mm-hmm. So the enclosures are part of the shape or they're not.
Sure, yeah.
And on violin, you're more concerned with the actual notes that you're playing. It's just the case.
Yeah.
So then you say, okay, now let's play this A minor arpeggio, but let's use enclosures, right?
Yeah.
And guitar is just loose fingering, then you go there, it's all enclosures. Okay, great. Or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, okay.
But do you have names for the enclosures? Because
I'm sort of naming them as I go. Or there's under, over, and there's rules. It's like at the moment, my book is based around the rule is generally under is by a semitone and above is by a scale tone, right?
But so if you do that, do you that kind of enclosures?
So like yeah, I mean I call it maybe that is that one that I call the jazz enclosure because that's a classic or so. I've not got the best ear. Da is a note that we're aiming for. Da, you go under by a tone. Da, and then over by a tone. Da, da, da. You climb down, then under again, and then on. Da, 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 da.
Okay, yeah.
So I call that I think that might be like an extended jazz enclosure.
Are there names for it, or you just?
I'm just calling it that. But that's what I'm calling it.
You do that one also?
I haven't actually done da 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 da. I haven't done that one, but that's it. There's thousands of them.
There's so many.
There's thousands of them, and I also got really into. I'm not sure if I'm going to have this in the book. It might be another book at some point. But rather than enclosures, like ways of moving between notes chromatically and rhythmically, a bit like the Barry Harris thing, a bit like the bebop scale, how it's set out to make you on the beat.
Yeah.
But just thinking about getting between notes rhythmically, chromatically and rhythmically, like chromatic rhythm, basically. So, and you can go up scales. If you take like a scale and I'm probably not going to do a good job of this. So up a third, 1 and 2 and you end up on the beat, right? And then if you want to do that from what was that note I just sang?
No, this is too low for me.
Okay, well that was a route to third. So that's say we're in C, which it probably isn't. Anyone who's got good perfect pitch.
So my perfect pitch goes until here.
It goes to there.
To that G.
Okay.
And every note, if you sing F sharp under it, I won't hear it anymore.
Okay.
You have to sing note there.
So C, da, 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 da. Is that right? C up to the E. And then if you wanted to do that same thing, as in what we're doing there is we're trying to get from C to E on the beat and be chromatic. And that's the rule. I'm not worrying about what's going on there. You just go da, 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 da.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's what makes that little line or that little movement work.
But how do you teach it in the book then? You just list them? Or
well, then you've got in C major, then if you try and do that same thing from D to F, da, 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 it's different. Da, 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 da. So you've got to go above by...
You have to go to a G.
So you've got to go above by A. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then just finding little things like that actually, to be honest, are great things to practice for violinists and just great things to practice. Basically, you can use these things to work on basically quantifying jazz language in one way, but also to, that can be your technique practice, because for jazz violinists need to practice being in tune as well. I think I do, So I if I'm going to practice things in staying in tune, I don't really want to use like Stradiak anymore because it just pisses me off.
But also the fingerings are not very handy for jazz.
But it just pisses me off. It's annoying, and it's just like it's horrible music. So and I want to find things like that I can use to.
So it's basically in your book. It's etudes with those, or is it really like
it'll go through? Well, that's not in this next book, but it probably will be in another book at some point.
Because I'm interested in it for sure, but I want to know like. So I can tell you my books. I have a subject, and I show that the lines for that subject in isolation. Then I make exercises with it.
Yes,
right?
yes. So
With a backing track or something.
That's sort of what's going on. I basically, first of all, did it as like a sort of workbook. So, for example, it would be just under by a semitone or above by a scale tone, and it would just be doing that to scales, and then finish it off yourself in the rest of first position, basically showing a little bit of it, and then saying, use this concept to finish it off in first position. So now you've got it way up a G major scale. But actually, then recently through speaking to and also I did use it in some lines as well, but then through speaking to the publishing company, they're like, look, we just need more. We love the concept, we think it's great, and we're gonna publish it.
Which company is it? Or
it's
is it
Fundamental Changes.
Oh yes, yeah, I know.
I don't know if I should say that.
I thought they only. I can see.
It's fine. No one cares.
Okay.
They do guitar, but they're trying to
guitar
span out.
Yeah,
span out.
But so this you can take it out of your podcast. But I want to address the people that are watching, because there's still 10 people watching.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure how the sound is, because these microphones, they are for the podcast.
Yeah, they're not plugged
so
into
they're
that.
not. So
right. What have we got any microphone?
Well, there's a microphone in there.
Oh, just that microphone.
Yeah, that microphone. So no, but the people are. So if you have a question, you can still ask it. But they're mostly saying that they know the piano bar. Okay.
They know the piano bar.
Yeah, the people. These people went there. Matthew Dowie and someone else. If you have a question, you can still type it if you can understand this. But I think I will later re-upload this video with better sound.
Okay.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Good idea.
So that was just, you have to cut it out the podcast probably, but I just wanted to say it. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, that's my book is doing that. It's taking these chromatic ideas and putting them into.
So when is it coming out?
I don't know.
What's the title?
It's enclosures for a jazz violin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very direct.
yeah. And your books. Let's hear it. You've got 3 now.
3 and planning 3 more for next year.
But these are guitar books, aren't they?
Yes, I would say the first one would be completely useless as a violin player, for example, because it's very guitar and it's so shape based. The second one, already there's a lot of vocabulary that could be used by any instrument, but of course, like I teach it on guitar.
You speak to guitar,
right? And also it's only in one key, because in guitar you can just move your hand, right?
But it's the same. My book stay in one key.
Okay.
It's just. I do think that's a good idea.
Well, there's many books that have like 12 keys. I saw that. Like saxophone books, like it's a very thick book, but it's because everything is in all keys.
What's that one? The patterns for improvisation,
for instance.
That's a nightmare. I've looked at that. That it's things like that book. I mean, no offense to whoever wrote that book, they might not. They don't care what I say, but that is a nightmare book. You just go, what is this?
I don't like those books either. It's just too much. It's like, give me one of them.
It's just like, come on, man, what is going on here? Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I guess it's if you're already working on jazz and you need something to practice, but I feel like it's not the way to make nice music.
No, so my third book, for instance. So the second book is like, first book is for absolute beginners. You bought a gypsy jazz guitar or art stopper. You want to play some jazz. You can't play jazz. Okay, here's a way to get into it. The second book is you mastered that. Your playing is okay, but it's not. If everybody plays like that, it's gonna be very boring. So here's some more things to get you being more creative.
Nice.
But the third book is about jangos in the 30s.
Yeah.
So what I did is I transcribed a lot of stuff from Jungle in the 30s. Sometimes complete solos, sometimes lines, and
Which solos?
Categorized. Well, lots of them, man. There's a guy.
How many?
I don't know, maybe like 30 complete solos.
Nice.
And then, but lots of like separate phrases. And I categorized everything. So like I said, these are phrases for turnarounds. The jungle played in the 30s. I'm talking 1930 to 1939, which is already a big.
It's a long time.
I mean, Django developed a lot in that. But still. And then here's lines for Christoph Changes. Here is lines for
Christoph Changes.
Yeah, that's
4/4 sharp 4.
Yes, right. Like the last 8 bars are all of me, right?
I'm not sure. We call it. Well, yeah, some of us call it the horse.
The horse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better name.
You ride it home.
Because I recently learned that Christoph Changes is not actually another politically correct name.
Oh no, what does it mean?
Because it's becomes from that song Mr. Christopher Columbus because apparently it's in that song a lot, of course, but we know now that that's not very he was not a very nice guy, so
I
know.
I feel like that's quite tenuous, but
I know. So, but
as long as you,
So Christoph changes is that, but I didn't know that. Okay. You know that term. I learned that term from Roman. Not from him, but he was using it in a video, and then I heard other French people use it. Christoph changes. So I was like, okay, why not? You know, we need a name for it because
it does need. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the horse is. I think I learned that from Giacomo Smith. He calls it horse.
I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna use both names. It's
cool,
the horse.
I think the horse is good. It makes sense, right? Because you ride home. Basically.
Yeah, you ride home. Yeah.
It does feel like you're going home.
So there's a chapter for that, and then there's a lot of chapters for 5/1.
Okay, yeah.
But then in different positions on the guitar, right? So like one, if you have your hand in this shape, right? So, and then I discovered that Django was only playing a major in that time, except for minor swing.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Which ironically is most famous song, but most of it was major. And then all those tunes can be actually, even Christoph changes, you can actually just make that all 5/1s.
Yeah.
So you need just lots of stuff. Turn around.
Christoph changes. How would you make that a 5/1?
Well, Christoph changes. If you want to simplify that, it's just 4/1/5/1. 4/1/5/1.
Yeah,
let's say we're in the key of C. That would be F C G C 4/1/5/1.
So you'd say that the second chord could be C.
It's 4. Yeah, it could be
because it's sharp 4 is is 1 diminished, isn't it?
No, it's 4. It's raised 4. So,
but I thought you said 4/1.
Yeah, 2 bars 4, 2 bars 1, 2 bars 5, 2 bars 1.
Okay.
If you improvise just 4/4/1/1, 5/5/1/1, it will fit any rhythm. Christoph changes.
Yeah.
Even better to do 2 bars of raised 4.
Yeah.
So C sharp diminished to G.
I was about to say, but yeah, that's a little bit like. But then if you just do sharp 4, then you're basically just doing 1, because sharp 4 is sort of like 1 diminished, and 1 diminished is sort of like a.
No, 1 diminished will be like a subdominant. So no, I would say that's 4. So. It's 4. No, it is 4.
It's 4.
It's 4. Okay. Right? There's 3 functions in music, in Western music. It's a tonic, as dominant and subdominant. So 1 for 5.
Yeah.
So most.
Okay. Yeah. Fine, it's 4.
And we want to stay as long as possible in either 4 or 5, because that gives the tension. And 4 is actually kind of 5. Yeah. It's a sus 5.
Yeah.
So then in the end, everything becomes 5/1.
Yeah.
So Christoph changes is actually sus 5, sus 5/1, and then 5/5/1. So it's all 5/1.
Man, I absolutely love that way of looking at it, because it can sound like talking like this can sometimes sound a little bit nerdy and a bit like, oh great, and it doesn't sound like you're talking about okay, how do I make the music out of this? But for me, that tells me, look, just try and hear 5/1. If you can hear 5/1 everywhere, and listen to the best players, and if you listen to someone like Stan Getz or something, I know that's not gypsy jazz, it's not violin, it's not guitar, but someone like Stan Getz, that is exactly how he's playing. Yes. He's playing like he's just finding the melody, and he's finding the root. He's just trying to get back to the root all the time, and he's using, like you said, subdominance and dominance to do it, and it's just.
But here's another interesting thing. So the beauty of harmony has been said, but I agree. Also, in classical music, it comes usually on 4/1. Because 5/1 is very obvious, because there's a lead tone to the root and the third.
Yes.
Right, and in the 4, there's no lead tone to the root.
Yes.
The root is already there.
Yes.
So there's only a lead tone to the third.
Yes.
And so this now, if you want to be really sophisticated harmonically, on the 5 chord you play 4.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You play it's D7 to G, and on the D7 you play C minor.
Yes.
So, or you play C sharp diminished, right?
Yeah.
Or you play C double diminished. So that you stay on 4.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, then everything becomes just 5 or 4.
Yeah.
And you can use them. You can substitute one for the other, because sometimes you want to have that altered sound, right? Yeah. It's a little bit in your face, especially with you start playing that lick.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want it.
Yeah.
But Django is basically I can hear for Django in the 30s, but later also. That's what he's doing. He's only playing 5/1 or 4/1, and a lot of time he's playing 4/1, even when it's 5/1 in the changes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's simplifying it. He's obviously he's just simplified. He's simplified all of this.
But
stuff.
that used to think now you simplify it and then you make it more complicated.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you take the simplified changes and you make those more complicated. Now and then you end up with a set of changes that is so different from what the rhythm section is playing, but it's the same functions.
Yes.
And then you get some kind of dissonance that you won't get from I'm gonna play the bebop skill on D7. You won't get that from it because then you're still doing this thing on D7 instead of it's C minor, but now I'm gonna side slip to C minor.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do B minor to C minor.
Yes.
You would never get that otherwise. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can't find those. You can't do those sort of complicated things without simplifying it.
Yeah, or cycling. So let's say you do C minor instead of D7. Let's say, but you know what? I'm gonna play a dominant to the C minor. So I'm gonna play some G7.
Yes.
Resolve to C minor.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But if you make it happen, if you make the lines very logical, you will get some kind of internal harmonic logic in your lines.
Yes.
That end up eventually in the same place as the rhythm section. That's now it's the one. It's the big one at the end.
Yeah. I think it can. I think that doing sort of more crazy, like, not that this is crazy, but if you doing more substitutions in your playing as a violinist is. It's really good to do, but I think it's a tough one to do. You've got to be really strong with it because you've got your tuning and you've got the way that the instrument is. I feel like saxophone players can really get away with, and guitarists if you turn up, all of us if we turn up. But it's there. If we're playing acoustically or we try to play like we actually sound, then it can. You've got to be really, really, really clear, and you've got to be really, really in tune if you're going to do any of this stuff on a violin, I think.
But my solution is then don't make the register too big. Just stay on two strings when you do this kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
okay,
you have a quick turnaround of changes, right? If you play like a B diminished arpeggio up,
come back down,
and then you come back down with C minor 6. So you have a quick resolution of these things. Right? If you start using all kinds of chromatics around that, you can do that.
Yeah.
But then, you're right. It becomes very. It might be hard for a listener to actually pick up on this, even subconsciously. It might sound kind of random then.
Yeah.
But Corpelli, if you this solo he plays on Django Tiger.
Yes, man, I love that solo.
He plays D minor 6 on top of that E7, right? I don't remember now, but I don't remember. I've described it.
Yeah, he does lots of B half diminished stuff
on the E7, right?
Yes.
So there you have it. He's playing D minor 6. He's playing the 4 minor.
Yeah. And Django did that all the time.
Yeah,
as well,
Django
right?
did all the time. I wonder if they talked about it or something, or picked up on it.
I feel like they were, because I transcribed the Django solo on the violin as well, and
yes, I saw the video.
I tried to get. You didn't do one back to me.
But I was writing my second book then, and I wrote another book after that.
No, you can't. You can't make a video of everything you get tagged in, dude. I feel the same. They both were playing some of the same stuff.
But now imagine
really nice.
using your enclosures to outline that D minor 6.
Yes.
Now you get a chromaticism that has nothing to do with E7 anymore.
Yes.
But it still works harmonically. Like you play B flat A, and then you play something like this. You play something like this. Right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with E7,
yeah.
but it will work because it's it's D minor 6, and it will resolve to A.
Yeah. Because I've heard you talk about that concept with violin before, actually. So that the idea of taking these nice chords and just enclosing them and not worrying about scales, just worrying about the enclosures,
or side slip them and then close the side. But you're right. So I side slip. I play B flat minor 6 and I enclose to that. But you have to be careful now. You have to be very quick with resolving it.
You got to resolve. You have to.
Don't stay too long on that wrong chord with the tuning and all that stuff. It becomes random. You have to be careful. You have to be careful.
Yeah. Did you get any questions or?
Somebody asked me what my next 3 books will be about.
Yeah.
I can. It's your podcast.
No. Do it. No, it's my podcast, but I'm up for that. That's perfect. Means I'd have to ask questions.
My first book was for beginners. My second book is for more advanced players. My third book is about Django in the 30s, so 1931, 1937. I want to write a book of Django 40s, 50s, but I don't want it to be my next book. Mm-hmm. So it has to be a book in between. and that's going to be a bebop book.
Nice.
So it's going to use the same categorization system that I used in the third book with like crystal chains and stuff, but it's going to all be bebop.
Nice.
So I'm just going to use bebop players like Charlie Parker,
Cool.
Pasquale Gasso,
Yeah.
Martijn van Eetsen, just really bebop players. And then after that is going to be the Jungle Book 1947 and later, like the Rome sessions, you know, the great sessions. But also his art stop playing or steamer playing.
Yeah.
There's some great stuff.
It's amazing.
And then after that, I'm thinking now, it's my sixth book, would be, but it might change, but I'm thinking about Django's comping behind Grappelli.
Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I'll categorize in the same way, like what is Django doing?
Yeah.
That's my plan for now. It's like the book 5 and 4 and 5 are a certain thing. Book 6 can still change, but that's what it's got to be.
Cool.
What I want to do.
Cool.
And what's your next book going to be?
Man, I'm still in the middle of mine. I'm still in the middle of sort of basically fleshing out what I have, and that's taken me a long time. But I think that I'd want to do something for beginner violinists getting into playing, as in beginner jazz violinists. I think that would be my next.
Do you do videos? Do you do videos with it?
I think it's definitely going to be audio, probably video. We're still trying to work that out. At the moment,
you're a video content creator, right? Like he has a YouTube channel. Check it out. I'll link it in the description.
Yeah. Do bits and bobs. I'm not that. I don't do loads, but I do bits and bobs.
You don't do it daily anymore?
No.
You were doing it for a while.
I was doing it late daily. It's tiring.
It's hard to keep it up.
Tiring, dude. It's tiring.
I started doing it. I don't know. Were you the reason I started doing it?
You were definitely doing it around the same time that I was doing it.
So maybe
you
it was
good
you
so cool,
but here's the thing. I did it as a fuel for my book.
Yeah.
So now I have this very intense period where I do this every day for like 2 months, but then I stop and I write the book.
Yeah.
And that's a really good system for me.
That's a good idea. And I think, and I felt like that was what I was trying to do as well, actually, because it was around the time I was formulating the idea, but it's all just happened at random points. But it's a good idea. I think, I think I will be doing a bit more content creation later on as I'm getting to the end of the book, because actually I do need content for the book. The book comes with videos, and the book comes with
my last book has like 46 videos.
It's a lot, dude.
So I still was making videos, but I first wrote the book.
Yeah.
So that I already had all the materials.
Yeah.
But you can expect like 30 shorts starting when I can get back next week with bebop stuff.
Oh, nice.
Right,
Great.
because it's for the bebop book.
Yeah.
And then I start writing that in December or so. Yeah.
Go on. Just before we go, because we're probably going to wrap. What's the time? Actually?
Yeah, it's 3:30, 4:30.
Okay, before we wrap up,
yeah.
I feel like you've gone through loads of periods in your life, different periods, musical periods, right? Like you've done loads of different things. You've bandolion, violinist, mainly a violinist for a long time, and then you've done so much stuff. Actually, I'm not even going to go through it all. If you listen to my first interview with you, you'd find out everything he's done. But he's done everything. But now you're focusing around, it's like content creation and teaching and writing books, right?
Yeah.
Bits of playing as well. Sure, you going around and you'll do these festivals.
It's less than 40.
Less than before.
Yeah.
But a bit of playing and teaching. What is an average day like for you? Because I think I think it's interesting for people to hear what's a content creator like yourself or someone who does what you do. What are you doing in a day? Most people don't have a clue what we're doing. That's a good
question. So the first thing I do is start practicing, actually. Because so when this period comes with the shorts that's coming up, I need to have a piece of content I can produce every day, because it's a daily thing, right? It's only 1 minute, but it still needs to be a new piece of vocabulary. So I start describing something.
Just stop it. Are you recording a different one every day, or are you recording them in batches?
No, I'm recording. No, because I had the plan doing the batches, but it's just too annoying because I record lots of stuff that I'm not happy with. Yeah. So because I want to be something that is really excites me, like a phrase, but that needs time to find it.
Yeah.
So I find this phrase that I like, Charlie Parker thing, but I might find 10, and I practice them all, or practice like the ones that I think would be most suitable. One will jump out to me, and then I start making a video, and that's actually a pretty long process because I first need to record a backing track. Like I think you use a lot of the same backing track, right?
No, actually, I'll record a little backing track and just make it on guitar.
So I used to do a whole song, but I let it go because it's just too much work. So now I just record the progression that lick fits over, but it's different tempos. Yeah. So I record a backtrack and I do it in a very complicated way with 2 rhythm guitars and a bass. Yeah. And I need to MIDI program the bass, right? I need to mix and master that. Then I'll record that lick I have to play. Of course, that doesn't go right the first time, right? You have to do it a couple of times. Yeah. Then I have to edit the video. Then I have to edit my talking. Yeah. Then I have to do the captions, and then upload it. Then I have to plug it everywhere. Yeah. Right, like I have to put it in my Discord and stuff. Yeah. And do it every day. And then the day is over. When I'm done with that, the day is really over.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is a day. It's a full day.
And when I have to play, I cannot do everything. So then I can only do the half of it. Yeah. So then there will be a day there is no content.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when then after 30 days, when that's all done, or probably longer because I won't be able to do it every day, I start writing the book. Then I rebuild my whole studio with another setup because the setup for the short is very different because the camera, it's vertical video, the lighting is different, the microphones are different. For the teaching, it's a different setup. Yeah. So I change everything, and I don't do gigs anymore. Yeah, because I need to be focused on writing the book.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I did with the previous book, at least. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that's an interesting. That's a lot of work.
And I have deadlines.
Yeah.
Because I want the book to be finished before I go. Like now, before I with the Shrewsbury Festival, I wanted this jungle book to be finished because I wanted to take it. Yeah. Now I have the next camp coming up with Stochelo, Rosenberg, and Paul Schaefer in February. Yeah. I actually want the people book to be done by then. Yeah. So that probably means that January, February, I cannot play. Yeah. Because I have to.
You got to do that.
I have to. And that writing, man, it's like that process. With shooting, I'm talking about 4 to 5 videos, right? Yeah. Like 20 backing tracks. Yeah. These are like 14, 15-hour days.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting with mine. But basically, like you do the YouTube thing really properly. That's the way. That's I think people who think of YouTubers and they just think people are like just sitting around doing nothing and just like doing a bit. Yeah, just we're gonna go drink like 5 pints now. No, but just. It's a lot of work. It's not, and it becomes work. It's a lot of gear, but it becomes work. I think once you're doing it to that level, for me, I realize that, and I think that's, I'm not as prolific in that. I'm not as good at it. I don't think. I find it very tough.
No, but if you look at my older videos, like 6 years ago, and you will see the videos that I made. Like
they got better and better.
You can compare it. The thing is, though. I can make a living off it.
Yeah.
So it's also a responsible thing for me.
Yeah.
There was a time, like the first 2 years, I made like €100 a year for YouTube. Yeah. It wasn't really responsible. Yeah. But I really wanted to. And then the pandemic, of course, came. Yeah. And then that was the only thing I could do. Yeah. Right?
So you got better at it.
Yeah, I got better at it. And then the second year of the pandemic was like, okay, actually... this generates enough income for me to not have to play. Yeah. So I made the decision, okay, I'm only going to play when it's fun.
Yes, cool, great.
That's it.
Yeah.
But nice. I was teaching a lot more in the university. I only teach the courses that I think are fun.
Yes, sure.
And they know that, right? So they know, okay, so Christiaan stopped doing these things, right? Yeah. They were a little bit angry at the beginning, but now they understand.
Nice, cool. But it's a lot of work. And I think anyone who's doing it, who's trying to do it, it's an undertaking. It's not just something. I think that I realized that I like doing a bit of it, but I find it very hard to keep up with it. Because if you're playing, at least I think you did a good job just going like, okay, I need to stop playing if I'm going to do this properly. Because if you try and do 2 things at once, it can be very hard.
Yeah, also with the travel, it's just mostly the travel.
Yeah.
So and you're tired. And then you have to make a video. No, that's just. No, but I'm in the luxury position that I can do it because my previous books have sold very well.
But it's because you put the work in. It's right? Because done a good job.
It sustains me for a long time, that book. Yeah.
It's cool. Nice to chat to you, dude.
Hey, man, it was really great.
I think we can wrap it up there. Yeah. An hour and 15, just about, or an hour and 13.
I hope you enjoyed that. I had a great time. And who knows, maybe in the future I might make more of these videos, having conversations with great friends and musicians and artists. Again, if you are interested in Matt Holborn's other podcast episodes, check the link in the description, and I will see you in the next video.